placed into the lids, I use a heat gun. This softens the material and makes it possible to impose the soft pipe onto the feed-through.
Hiedalle.
Today's mission: extending the drain. The feed-through drains installed in APS episode 25 need to be extended so that the water flowing through them will be directed back into the fish tank IBCs. Tip: make use of the grow bed. Okay, let's see. Last time Konrad talked about the reproduction of goldfish and their eggs, since we found some goldfish eggs on the filter ball media floating in the IBC tank. Some of the eggs were placed in the left IBC tank, which will be the nursery for the young fish. While the fish will hatch and develop in this tank, we need to continue our work in setting up the system. For this, we need to attach some pipes at the drains of the canisters placed on the planting shelf. There are no proper fittings available here in this space, so we have to construct some from pipe we have laying around. Let's go. Okay, so the canisters are placed on the planting shelf, which sits above the shower basin grow bed. The shelf covers the area of the grow bed a bit too much, which is why I think we should move the shower basin forward first, before installing the pipes. While doing so, we can reduce the complexity of the drain pipe of the grow bed as well. There was a 90-degree elbow fitting attached, which can be taken away. Since the grow bed is filled with media and plants and also water is already cycling through the basin, it is very heavy. I need some wooden beams to lift it a bit higher to move it forward and to place on top of the T-joint fitting I just rotated upwards. This T-joint fitting will be the new drain. There are 8 canisters on the wooden plank, which will be integrated in the cycle. The outflow of the 4 canisters in the middle will be directed into the grow bed, which gets then siphoned out back into the fish tank. The 2 canisters on the left will constantly empty into the IBC tank on the left, and the 2 canisters on the right will empty into the IBC on the right. This will create water movement in the tanks when the siphon of the shower basin grow bed is not triggered and the bed is filling. The 2 wooden planks where the grow bed rests on are a perfect spot to place this small gardening greenhouse, which I plan on using to sprout seedlings. So the water outflow of the 2 leftmost canisters will flow through this greenhouse first before exiting into the IBC tank. I modified this greenhouse for a previous iteration of the system, so it already has an in- and outflow pipe attached. As plumbing for the extensions, I will use the 20mm pipes we had in storage and also use some leftover cuttings as much as possible. The length for the pieces of pipe we need is, especially for the 4 inner canisters, quite short, which makes recycling from cuttings easier. The pipe's plastic is very soft and can be cut with a pipe cutter. To assemble the parts onto the feed-through fittings placed into the lids, I use a heat gun. This softens the material and makes it possible to impose the soft pipe onto the feed-through. The pipe is very hot and therefore not easy to handle with bare hands. I found using a pair of scissors to slide the pipe onto the desired place works quite well. This creates the grip necessary to pull it up and shrink in place once it cools and hardens again. I would like to connect both outer canisters to have only one pipe entering the IBC tank. So to join both streams, I recycle some used PET bottles. With a Forstner bit, it's quite easy to drill a hole for the pipes into the plastic. I can just twist the bottle around the feed-through so it sits inside of the bottle. To reduce the load of the cutout from the weight of the bottle, I use some fishing line to secure the bottle onto the handle of the canister. The other canister pipe from the right can be inserted into a secondary hole on the side of the bottle. I just need to make sure the pipe will be at a downward slope once set in place. As the last piece for this side, I install a hose to the bottleneck, which redirects the water into the right fish tank. This closes the loop here. Let's work on the left side now. I use exactly the same setup with a similar bottle twisted onto the canister's drain pipe and secured with fishing line. Here the most right canister pipe enters the bottle through a hole on the side of the PET bottle. And a piece of flexible pipe will direct the water into the small greenhouse. The outflow of the greenhouse is already above the IBC tank, but I might need to add some pipe here later to reduce noise and splashing. I actually like how this turned out. especially because it is symmetric on both sides. I also like that the greenhouse found a good position to be integrated into the water cycle. I am not sure about the piping though. The white pipe extensions make it tricky to turn the yellow lids if necessary. I can disassemble the white pipe in the middle above the grow bed, but the outer pipe construction not as easy. Also, we have to see what happens if the lids leak, or where the water can be redirected if the lids need to be opened. And like I mentioned last time, we still have the possible issue with the root mass going into the outflow pipe and clogging the drain. I might update this build to a pipe with a larger diameter to solve both of this issue, where we don't need to use the lids at all. For now, we leave the setup as is and see how it ages once the water cycle is switched on. This concludes today's mission. Subscribe for the next episode and leave some feedback in the comments below. You could also check out this video. Or if it's your birthday, maybe this one.
Hiedalle.